Welcome to today's session on advanced directives. My name is Asia Simpson. I am your wellness and benefits consultant for Pomona Unified School District. And with us today is Brendan Vigorito, presenting on advanced directives. Today's session will be recorded. We'll go approximately from 4 to 4:30, 4:45-ish, depending upon questions, Q&A. If you're joining this session a little late, or if you're reviewing this session in replay mode, this session will not include any Q&A in it. It will just be strictly content, but this information will be available for you to review in the future. Without further ado, I will pass it over to you, Brendan, and let you get us started today.
Okay, thanks, Aja. And welcome, everyone. My name is Brendan. I like to do these sessions as interactively as possible. And for those of you joining us live, one of the things I'm going to recommend you do is grab a piece of paper, something to write with, because along the way, there's probably going to be some things that you're going to want to jot down. So as soon as you have that paper and pen in hand, you type the letter P, put that into the chat box to me. That way I know that you have everything that you need in order to get the most out of today's session. So again, for those that are joining live, just type the letter P, put that into the chat box. Now, one of the questions where I always like to begin with is, first of all, talking with people and say, okay, do you have an advanced directive in place? And a lot of times people will say no, and it's basically the same thing as a will. So we're going to be looking definitely at advanced directives, but the same principles also apply as far as a basic will is concerned. And from a statistical model, I do want to share with you that last year in the United States, over 70% of the people that passed away did not have wills. In the same way, most people don't have advanced directives. So if you're sitting here today, again, whether it's live or whether you're listening to this from a recording aspect, I want you to begin to ask yourself, okay, why is it that most people know that they should have these documents in place, but they don't? Sometimes does it have to do with cost? And again, we'll share with you resources today, and this is something that we can all put into place, basically at little or no cost to us. But one of the big obstacles that I see with most people is they know they should be getting these documents and putting them into place, but sometimes they're a little bit hesitant or confused about where to begin, or they just don't like to think about it. And again, I know this is not an easy topic to have these conversations with your loved ones, but yet at the same time, it's not going to negate the need to have these conversations. So again, I want to encourage you to, again, to follow through and to take a look and say, okay, what are the obstacles that you have found to be in place? And again, the information we're going to cover today not only applies to you, but it's also going to apply to your loved ones. So it also may kind of trigger some conversations that you want to have with your loved ones as well. So what we're going to be covering today, again, we're going to define what advanced directives are, and we're going to look at why it's important that you and I, why we get these documents, why we put them in place. And it's also the same thing, again, as far as a living will, durable power of attorney. It's not that we want to have one or the other of these documents. These are all documents you need to have all of these documents in place. We'll talk about the differences, the different roles they play in our lives, and as well as also to take a look at, different tips for preparing these advanced directives. And again, these are documents we can simply go online. We can simply go to the state attorney general's office in the state where we're living. We can download these documents from them. And again, we can do this. It simply takes a few minutes, doesn't take a whole lot of time to be able to do these documents. Again, we'd want to sign those in the presence of a notary, because these documents, in order to be legally enforced, they have to all be notarized as well. And remember that these are all state-specific documents. So if you've had these documents completed in a different state. Now you move to a new state, you will need to get them updated in the current state where you're living. And then we'll also identify strategies for being able to communicate with your loved ones, with your relatives about the need to have these documents completed. And I'll share with you there's different resources that are available that if you're kind of sitting here and saying, I know I should also talk to, my loved one about putting these documents into place, but I'm not sure quite how to broach the subject. There's a great resource, and I'll share it with you, Dan. It's basically put it in writing. They have great strategies and kind of great tips for you to kind of help to get the conversation going. I'll also share with you the best time for you to have these conversations is while everyone is healthy. So, as difficult as what it may be, especially if people are healthy, this is the best time to have these conversations before the need really kicks in. Because again, it just makes it more complicated when there is medical issues that people are dealing with, or there's certain situations that are going on. It's going to make it more difficult for you to have these conversations. So again, I'm a proponent that as soon as possible, you want to have these conversations. Again, you want to put these documents into place. And then the last thing we'll share with you are different resources that are going to be available to you, and also through Anthem EAP. They have some great resources that will help you with this process. So and again, as we're covering the material for those of you that are live at any time, if you have any questions or comments, again, feel free to utilize that chat feature. So first of all, let's take a look at in answering the question, basically, what are advanced directives? So what it is, this is a written statement, basically, that you're going to provide to make and declare your preferences in regards to the medical care that you want to receive in the event that you become incapacitated. So again, the great advantage to an advanced directive, you're able to communicate the choices in regard to healthcare in the different medical choices, the medical care that you want to receive in the event that you become incapacitated. So basically what this does, this helps to put your thoughts in the care that you want to receive in the future in the event that you become incapacitated. So again, at any time you can change these forms at any time. For example, if there's different advancements concerning medical care that you decide that you want to change the type of care that you want, and you can update it, you can change it in any time. So why do we need advanced directives? Again, if you and I, if we don't have these documents in place, so again, the advanced directives will include living wills and also healthcare proxy, as well as also the do not resuscitate. Again, if we do not have these documents in place and something was to happen to us, then basically the doctor or the medical facility which is providing the care, are going to have to make those choices for us. So again, that's why I'm a big proponent to say, you know what, it's in our best interest, and it's also in the best interest of our loved ones to communicate with them and to make our choices known. Again, if we don't have these documents, basically it's going to be the doctors and the medical care facilities that will make our choices for us. Now, again, they may make the choices that we would want to have them make. But again, I come from the perspective, why would we want to leave that to chance? So it's only going to be used, they only are going to kick in the event that we become incapacitated and cannot speak for ourselves. Now, from a probability model, we're more likely to become incapacitated, at least for a short period of time, as compared to passing away prematurely. And again, this could be due to an illness, it could be due to an accident, or again, this can happen to any of us at any time. None of us are guaranteed tomorrow. None of us are guaranteed, for example, that this afternoon or tonight we get involved in an automobile accident and become incapacitated. So it's not dependent upon your current health that you're in. Again, this is something that all of us need to have. And what I find when you take through and kind of think through these different documents and you make your wishes known, this also not only helps to give you a sense of peace, but it also gives your loved ones a sense of peace in that they know the type of decisions that you would want made. Now, again, if we fail to have these conversations with our loved one, again, it's not going to change the probability that, again, something can happen to any one of us in any given time. Now, again, so the considerations are it only is going to kick in if you cannot speak, if you cannot communicate, if you cannot advocate for yourself. So, again, the different documents that you need to have in place is going to be a living will. And that's the first place that if you become incapacitated, the doctors or the medical facility is going to look at and to say, okay, is there a living will in place? And if there is a living will in place, what are your specific wishes as to the type of care that you'd want to receive? And so that's going to be the first document that's going to come into place. Now, a lot of times that living will may not be specific enough based upon the specific circumstances that you're experiencing. So that's where basically that medical healthcare proxy or basically medical power of attorney, and sometimes people will use these terms interchangeably. Sometimes they'll use different terms, but it's the same thing. If someone is referring to a medical healthcare proxy or medical power of attorney, it's the same thing. It's basically this is the person that you're designating to be able to make healthcare decisions when you become incapacitated. So again, you need both. So if there's certain circumstances where that living will is not quite clear, then they're going to look at the medical healthcare proxy, that medical power of attorney, and the person that you have designated to be that particular person will be the person that will now make those decisions on your behalf. So again, let's take a look at what that living will is. Again, that living will is basically the choices that you want to make as compared to the medical care, the different medical choices that you want to have made when you become incapacitated. So why do we need a living will? Again, this can happen to any of us. It doesn't matter what our health is. Again, an accident or an illness can occur at any time, and it's going to kick in when or if we become incapacitated and cannot speak for ourselves. Again, if you have any questions on that, feel free, put it in the chat box. Again, this is something that every one of us, and I'm going to recommend that we all put these documents and we get them in a place. Now, there's two basic types of power of attorneys. One is what we refer to as durable power of attorney, and the other type of power of attorney is non-durable power of attorney. What non-durable power of attorney is basically if we become incapacitated, then it's no longer in force. So where people will have a tendency of using the non-durable power of attorney is, for example, if you wanted to have someone execute a real estate transaction on your behalf, once that transaction is then completed, then it goes away. So that's why it's referred to as non-durable power of attorney. Now, from that medical healthcare proxy, or basically medical power of attorney, it's going to be referred to as durable. When basically all that means is in the event that you become incapacitated, it is durable, and that person has that capacity, they have that power of attorney to speak on your behalf when you become incapacitated. Now, from your perspective, again, for those of you that are attending live, I want you to kind of put into the chat box to me, what would be the type of characteristics of the person that you would want to choose to be that durable power of attorney? So again, you kind of think through, this is the person that you're designated. And again, There's different terms that are used, but it's the same thing. That person can sometimes be referred to as a healthcare proxy or your healthcare agent. Sometimes you may hear people refer to it as your healthcare surrogate, or again, that person that has that durable medical power of attorney. So again, when you think through it, that this is going to be a person that you can be open, you can be honest, you can be direct with. This would be the type of person that you can communicate your wishes and again, express the type of care that you want to receive. And then this person also has to be comfortable making these decisions. So I'm always going to recommend the person that you kind of think ahead of time, yeah, this person is definitely the person I want. Make sure you go and have that conversation with them to make sure this is something they're comfortable with. Again, I've seen cases where people said, yeah, I'm going to choose this particular relative, or I'm going to choose this my particular friend to be able to carry this durable power of attorney. But when they go and have the conversations, the person becomes uncomfortable about making those decisions. So again, make sure you're having the conversations with them. And then once you complete these forms, you're going to want to have this person basically have these forms completed. Again, all these forms need to be signed, they need to be notarized. And so, again, this is definitely something you want to carry through, and they are going to have a copy of these forms. Someone just shared, yeah, I would choose my friend who works in healthcare. Again, excellent choice. But again, it's got to be someone that you're comfortable with. If it's someone that you're not quite sure, that you can be open, honest, and direct with them, then I'm going to recommend you kind of think through it a little bit more. Again, I'm sure you'll be able to come up with that person that would be very comfortable making these decisions with. And again, at any time, if something changes and you want to designate someone else, again, you can update these forms. You can change them at any time of your choosing. So, let's see what else. Again, any other questions you have, feel free to put them into the chat box. Again, as far as that healthcare proxy is concerned, why do we need a healthcare proxy? And the same reason why we need a living will. Something can happen to us at any time, and it's only going to come into play in the event that we become incapacitated and cannot speak for ourselves. And in the case of the healthcare proxy, if that living will is not specific enough to answer the type of care as to what you would want, then it's going to then defer to the healthcare proxy. So again, who should you choose as that healthcare proxy? Again, I would choose someone that I'm extremely comfortable with. I'm going to choose someone that I know would make the decisions that I would want them to make. And again, it's someone that's got to have, a copy of these documents. So then that last question on the bottom of the screen is, should I have both a living will and a durable power of attorney? And the answer is yes. Again, we need to have all these documents. So again, any questions you have, feel free, put it right into the chat box to me. So the advanced directive advantages, again, none of us have control over the future. None of us know the future. So the advantage of putting these documents in place, it basically gives you the capacity for you to take charge over the decisions that you would want to have made on your behalf. Again, you can download these documents. You can either get them from your local doctor, you can get them from your healthcare facility, or you can get them from through your state, through the insurance commissioner's website. You get them through your state attorney general's office. You can get them from the local your agency on aging. They all have these documents, or you can also reach out through Anthem Employee Assistance Program, and you can get the documents there. Other times people will say, okay, do I need to have an attorney? Because right now, financially, things are a little tight. Do I need to pay an attorney to complete these documents? And the answer is no. If you would be more comfortable, if you choose to have an attorney complete these documents, then that is definitely one of the options for you. But again, these are very simple documents, and you can go through step by step, and it really won't take you a whole lot of time to complete these documents. And again, the whole purpose of these is to basically make your wishes known. They basically an expression of the type of care that you would want. So again, you can get these forms, you can download them from your state government's website. And again, these are all state specific documents. So if you've had them completed before and you were living in another state, you're going to want to get them updated in the particular state where you're living. Now, the next form is basically what's referred to as the hospital DNR, or the hospital do not resuscitate. Again, it's an additional type of advance directive. Now, if you do not have a DNR in place, basically what's going to happen if something was to occur, you're going to have a medical emergency, and you basically, if your heart stops beating, the doctors and the medical care facilities are always going to operate under the assumption to basically use CPR. So if you do not want to have a DNR in place, that's fine. But again, they're always going to err. They're going to do everything that they can to provide that additional CPR and additional life support. So if you are at the point where you say, well, you know what, if this situation happens, I'm not sure I want it, then again, you can make your wishes known. Now you can use an advanced directive form to basically to share with your doctor or the healthcare facilities that you do not want to be resuscitated. So again, that's the purpose. It's a specific form that has in place, and DNR orders are going to be accepted by all doctors in all hospitals in all 50 states. So again, this is something very simple to complete if this is what you choose to have in place. Now, a lot of times people will say, you know what, I also know that I should be having this conversation with my loved ones, or I should be having this conversation with my elderly relatives. But again, I'm not quite sure how to go about it, or, how do we put this in place? And basically, what we're going to refer to on this particular side, this is what we refer to as the 5 wishes. So basically, what it is, it's a national advance directive that kind of helps to get those conversations going. And it is in basic, simple language that helps you to kind of decide, okay, what type of care do I want to have, and how do I go about combining the living will, the power of attorney, in the matters of comfort, care, spirituality, forgiveness, and final wishes. So again, it kind of helps to put all these things in place. And basically, it was established by a nonprofit agency, again, on aging with dignity. So again, this is a great resource for you. And again, it can also help to get the conversation going with your loved ones. So again, as we get to the place of saying, okay, what are the different tips that we need to have in place as far as to be able to prepare for these advanced directives? Again, your regular doctor will have these forms available to you. You can write these wishes down yourself. You can contact your state health department, or again, any of the department on agencies. They have these forms available. Or again, if you'd be more comfortable going to an attorney, again, you can have an attorney prepare these forms for you. They will charge you to do that. But again, it's not necessary for you to go through an attorney. Or also the different computer software packages have these legal documents. And then also a lot of times your local bank or local credit union also will make these services available for their customers or for their members. So again, a lot of places you can go to get these documents. And again, as you go through, you're thinking, okay, not only do I need these for myself, you may have some specific older relatives that you may want to consider having the conversation with them, and also to help them to assist in preparing these documents. Now, on the screen in front of you, again, you've got a number of different resources that would be available to you. So again, here's where I'm going to recommend that you may want to even take your phone, look on a picture of this, or jot these down on that piece of paper that you have. Again, put it in writing is through the American Hospital Association. There's a ton of resources they would have available to you. Also, the American Academy of Family Physicians, they have a couple of websites, aafp.org or familydoctor.org. Again, they'll also have these forms, and again, they'll make different conversation starters available to you, and also the American Association of Retired Persons, again, aarp.org. Again, they all have these documents, or care.com, and you can get them anywhere. Again, fairly easy to complete, but again, you're going to want to get all these notarized. I also recommend that you may have multiple copies done when you do that. So you keep a copy for yourself, you keep a copy for the person that you're designating to be able to make these choices, to be able to make these decisions on your behalf. I'd also recommend that you give a copy to your doctor, and also if there's a local medical facility, and you'd want to give them copies as well. So that way everyone all has the same documents. And again, if the event ever occurs where they need these documents, everyone has the same document. So they're basically all operating according to the same desires, your same wishes. Again, it is so much easier for you to have these conversations with your loved ones while everyone is healthy. If you wait till there's some illnesses that occur, I guarantee you it's going to be more difficult for you to have these conversations. The best time is while everyone is healthy. It's a lot easier to have these conversations. And again, you're making your wishes known. And again, you're allowing for that conversation to occur, because sometimes we may have a trusted friend or a trusted relative that may also want to share with us a different perspective that we may not have seen on our own. So again, I'm going to recommend